Hello and welcome back to another gig log. This is Nate with In the Mix Light and Sound. And today we'll have a fun one. Hopefully the weather will work out for us here. There's a big hurricane that just hit the southern region and is working its way up through the mid-Atlantic here. And while we're not getting any of the brunt of that, what we do have today is, well, it's been raining for the last day or two. And we have an outdoor gig today. And while it looks like there might be a stray shower or two, it's going to be overcast, and right now it's misting, so everything's going to be a little wet and damp. But yep, so it goes for the fall events. This happens. So today what we have is a beer festival, and with the beer festival we have one main band that's going to be playing throughout the day, and then we have an acoustic act that will be playing in between the main band. So we'll be switching back and forth between the two throughout the day. But once we get everything set up, it's pretty much ready to go. We just kind of switch over between inputs, and it should run pretty smoothly as it has in the past. It's a real fun beer fest. Hopefully the weather doesn't put too much of a damper on it, because a lot of people have a lot of fun at these things, and we've been doing it for the past couple of years, and it's always been a great time. So with that, we'll talk about some of the setup today. We'll of course be setting things up in a way that if we do get a stray shower, we'll be able to easily cover up and recover from it. We'll be using our Meyer Ultra X40s. We'll be using some 828 subwoofers, and we'll be using some of our electrical. We'll have some of our cover caps, and I'll try to show you some of that as we go through the gig log today. So with that, stay tuned. So here's our stage for the day. It's an Apex stage. A little wet on top there. Let's see if we can get a squeegee to dry that off. And then here's our audience area. Alright, so I think what we're going to try to do, we'll see how this works out, is we have some new Duratrus DT Pro 4000 stands. I got these because I wanted some beefier stands, but also these have a short enough profile that I can actually get the speakers on with the tilters without having to strain myself or get a ladder to get the speakers on and off. And we got permission to leave our trailer on the side, so what I'm going to try to do is run the main rack and mixer out of the trailer, and then that way it's protected if we do get a passing shower. With this band, I think I only have to put out, with the acts that are coming today, I only have to put out about 3, maybe 4 wedges. Now, one thing that I forgot to bring and should have, and have relied on the stage crew or the organizers in the past, and unfortunately it's not working out today, is a broom or a squeegee for the stage. So we're lacking that right now. We're going to try and figure out something to get some of that standing water off of there. But for the monitors that I do put out, we've got good old-fashioned clear trash bags that we're going to put over those to protect them throughout the day. If the weather takes a change and maybe the sun comes out, or the chances of storms are less, maybe we'll take those plastic bags off. But they do allow for some acoustic transparency. But luckily, all of the singers, vocalists, all the people that need it are running in-ears. So the drummer will run an in-ear, the guitar and vocalist runs an in-ear, the keyboards and vocalists run an in-ear, and the act that's in between is just an acoustic act. So we just need a monitor, a microphone, and a DI box. So it should be a pretty straightforward setup today. We just have to make sure that we have things covered and ready to go in case there's a downpour. As you can see, it's very overcast, cloudy, and it's basically just drizzling or spitting here off and on. Hopefully that'll clear up. So because of the rain, we're doing something a little bit different here today. We are keeping our main rack in the trailer, and we're coming out with our wires to the mains, which are the UX40s. We have the DT Pro 4000 stands, And then we're running a dual channel snake out. So one channel is for the subs here, the other channel is for the left speaker. To protect the power, we have our little electrical boxes that have everything sealed in here. And then up on stage, we've got our wedges bagged. Our power lines, we'll give them a test today, see how weatherproof these will be. And then for the signal up on stage and power, we're running everything out of the Midas box there. So we got a little power strip, and we have the IO, the 8 output version here. So we're running our 4 wedges out of there, and then we'll grab a couple of lines for the in-ears as well. So it's been sprinkling on and off all throughout the setup time. Pretty much got everything plugged in, mostly got line checked. We're supposed to kick off in about 15 minutes or so. So we got tarps up, things covered as best we can. And off we go.
First one said she got my job. It don't look like me. Said I'm gonna take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. If I get home before daylight, just might get some sleep.
Never stay in one place too long. The dirt roads are singing me a siren song. I gotta find a feel. I need to spin my wheels. I got a hankering for 4 white tires. If I can't help it, it's the way I'm wired. Before you get too close, boy, you need to know. I got a heart like a child. It's been drugged through the mud. Runs on dreams and gasoline. That old highway holds the key. Through the mud, runs on dreams and gasoline. That old highway holds the key. It's got a lead foot down when it's leaving. Lord knows it's taking a hell of.
So everything's nice and dry here in the trailer. For those of you who haven't watched videos before, we've got our normal just rack, everything racked up in here, a computer racked up in the bottom there. We have our Whirlwind distro, 30 amp coming in. We have a Trip Light distro. Then we have our DL32, which everything's coming into through Snakes here. So we have one Cat 5 snake with 4 channels coming in from a Whirlwind box that has DI and microphone channels built into it with combo jacks. Really cool box that I like. Above the DL32 we have our rack for our wireless microphones. We have a little utility drawer for batteries and miscellaneous, M32C, and a little power strip at the front that we use for odds and ends. At the top we have a computer coming off a monitor coming off the computer there. And again, what we did is just ran everything down here in the gate, through the gate door of the trailer. So everything's sitting in here. Some of the extras that we had to leave outside, we have blue tarp over, just keep it covered. Got our subs covered up. And one other thing we do when we have to, when we know it's going to be weather inclement, is switch over the Meyer speakers have regular PowerCon in, but we use true ones here. Did a cable that's PowerCon to true one, because the true ones are weather rated, IP rated. Everything else is covered with bags holding in there. Of course, people are trying to stay out of the rain here. According to weather reports, this misting here is supposed to clear up, but it hasn't yet. So, hoping we got a couple more hours here, hoping that the sky does stop with spitting the moisture here, and I get a chance to maybe dry out a little bit too, but I might be too hopeful for that. Some dedicated fans out there though.
So it's as big as a whale, it's about to say, I got me a car and it seems about 20, so come on and bring your jukebox party. She was an American girl.
That was the Limerick Brew Festival, Limerick UnCorked as it was called. So let's talk a little bit about what happened at the event. So the weather forecast was wrong for the whole day. It's supposed to stop. It was supposed to be like 15% chance of light rain. Well, that 15% was 100%. We had a little break during the day for maybe an hour. There was a nice breeze coming through. It was just starting to dry things off, and well, the rain started back up again. Now, it wasn't a hard driving rain. It wasn't a downpour. It was just kind of misting. I call it spitting, all day, but the gear still got wet. So the important piece here to talk about is the preparation that goes into preparing for rain or shine events, and just in general, being prepared when you have iffy weather situations. So, of course, the go-to are tarps and bags, which in a pinch work. They keep the gear dry. In the case of a bad storm or downpour, of course, we would stop working on the stage and basically batten everything down, tarp everything, bag everything, and wait for the storm to pass, and then assess what the stage looks like, if we can still continue to go on. Now, at this event, it wasn't the case. It was just kind of a slight mist all day. So, important things that I think outside of bags and tarps that you can do to prepare is look for weatherproof cases. So as you saw on my Meyers, I use some of the Yamaha cases, which are designed to be weather resistant. On top of that, I also have the Meyer rain guards with the X40s. So a little bit of double protection there, protecting the electronics on the active speakers. Those of you with passive, you have different worries. You got to make sure your amp stacks and electric are covered, but typically passive speakers can make it through some weather. That's one of the advantages over active speakers, I think. However, a lot of manufacturers have come a long way in doing what they can to IP rate their speakers or mitigate that with different covers. The subs didn't have covers for them, so for those I use tarp. That's where another advantage to center stacking subs comes in rather than a stereo stack, is that a lot of times you can cover them up with just a single tarp rather than having to do multiple covers. Or if you have speakers stacked on top, then you got to get a ladder, or you got to get up there and get a tarp over all your speakers. Been there, done that. In this case, luckily I didn't have to. Bags work well for the monitors. Now again, there are some manufacturers that do make weatherproof or make weather protected covers for their gear. And if not, there is also a company that's quite popular, Undercover NYC, that makes custom covers for gear. So it's always worth looking into. I keep telling myself I'm gonna look into getting some custom covers for my wedges, but haven't gotten there yet. The plastic bags have been working out for those events, few and far in between. The other is electrical. Now this is really important with electrical because you can kill somebody if you're not careful or know what you're doing. And with outdoor events now, code, everything needs to be GCFI rated, GFI outlets. And sometimes you may still run into old wiring that doesn't have GFI protected outlets. Hopefully that'll be updated. Sometimes with the heavier twist lock stuff, 30 amp, 50 amp, they are not yet GFI protected. So what I do in that case to make sure that anything that's going to be accessible to anybody who's not me or my crew, so basically the stringers that go across the stage, anything that musicians might be plugging into, I want to make sure that that has GFI protection. So I have some inline GFIs, basically some quad boxes that I've created that have GIs in them, and then that GFI feeds the stringer down the line. So if there is any unbalance between the hot and the neutral, it'll flip that GFI and protect the crew, protect the musicians, and that's what we want to make sure. So GFI is important. Now, I know that there's old gear that doesn't take to GFI very well. Some power amps are really picky about those, and GFIs do go bad over time. So you may come across some GFIs that aren't working. You just have to not circumvent them, but try and find another power source that gives you the safety protection that a GFI affords. Especially in wet, rainy weather, you can't go without a GFI. Not only does code require it, but any inspectors, anything like that, will probably shut you down if you don't have that type of rating. Now with electric too, a lot of times guys find it cheaper to kind of roll their own gear. What's important for that is to make sure that if you are making your own stuff, that you have some knowledge around electricity. Hopefully a licensed electrician is the way to go. That's the disclaimer. But make sure the components that you're using are UL rated. All of the components, cords, caps, outlets, anything that I've purchased, even if it's pre-made, I want to make sure it's UL rated. Because if there is anything that occurs, that UL rating, at least you have that rating to show that the equipment was certified for what you were using it for. So I try nowadays to buy, not so much roll my own anymore as far as electrical devices. I try to buy them pre-made from a certified manufacturer, something that is UL listed. So those are the important things. Again, try to keep all the electronics dry, whether you use tarps, bags. Try to keep everybody involved protected from wet electrical problems with GFI. Those are going to be your important pieces. And of course, there's multiple caveats when it comes to that I'm not going to get into as part of this video. In this case, we were able to get through the event, keeping the equipment dry. The stage had wet spots on it. The rain or mist that was coming in was definitely coming in on stage, so we tried to mitigate that a little bit with a tarp to the side. But at the end, when we get into those situations, I know what I've done to protect my equipment, and I know the conditions that I feel I can make it through when it comes to those types of events, rain or shine events. But at the end of the day, it also comes down to the musicians, the bands, the artists, if they want to put their gear at risk. So I really leave it up to them as well to make a decision as to whether they want to continue or not, depending on what they're comfortable with. So with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Again, caveats abound on that. I'm not going into a whole diatribe on electric and all of that. But with that, thank you again for watching. If you're watching these videos, please subscribe. I appreciate it. Always enjoy your comments. And with that, on to the next one.